I think traditionally Bahrain has been the center for financial services in the Middle East long before the IFC took a lot of momentum. So technology for the financial services sector, I think, is fairly robust, and I think technology companies will find it very interesting to look at opportunities in the BFSI sector. I think within BFSI as well, if you look at the landscape, we have a number of insurance companies. So if you look at InsurTech, you look at cybersecurity, BFSI, those are sort of the predominant ones that companies will find interesting to look at. Bahrain has a fairly easy regulatory environment that helps any company, let alone startups, to start. The regulatory regime is predominantly so EDB has two big mandates. One is to create reform in the Kingdom of Bahrain, which we've been doing over time, making regulation easier and easier to set up. Activity is more open to foreign businesses to set up on their own. And I think the clear business-friendly environment that we provide, along with the support, companies can find it very easy to set up business. So if you look at our ownership regime, 98% of our activities are open to 100% ownership. There is no form of tax, corporate, personal, withholding. There will be VAT that will be rolled out across the GCC, but that's across the GCC, and that's going to be a 75%. Dubai has already rolled that out. And I think in terms of our services as EDB, what we provide is a constant hand-holding, guiding and nurturing companies, advising them on whether it is the right place to do business, what sort of licenses will they require, whether is that the right time for them to look at setting up for example, a business development office, or at an opportune time they want to then have a proper execution and servicing office. So a lot of incentives, grants by the government. Also to mention, our sister organization, which is TiE, provides skill and training grants for companies that are employing local Bahrainis. So for example, you do find a local Bahraini with a bit of coding talent, you want to bring him back to Bangalore or your office in India. The government, TiE, will subsidize his salary, his training grant, his flight costs, everything back to India till he's employable with the skills that you want to train him for back in the Bahrain operation. How can Indian startups? It's a very the GCC market is if you look at it's a $1 trillion economy by 2022. It's an emerging market in the sense of the technology. It's not as mature as some of the Western markets or Indian market. And I think time is now right for Indian startups to look at emerging markets and the competency and the skill with which they have developed their own markets, which are getting saturated. Competition is kind of severe. For example, in the Indian market, you look at the food tech space, you look at delivery space, you look at payment space, you look at lending space. All of these are areas that can be transported very easily with, of course, a fair bit of adoption, compliance, regulation from the central bank. Indian startups will find it very, very lucrative to start looking at emerging markets like the GCC. Bahrain, in its center, is a strategic location within the GCC, and that could be used as a springboard to go out, address the larger GCC MENA market out of Bahrain. Well, I think the Bahrain startups, the ecosystem within Bahrain, although not very, it's growing and it's growing at a very fast pace. It's not as big as the Indian ecosystem or the global ecosystem to start with. But I think we are at a very unique position because what the opportunities, the solutions, the problems that are unique to the Middle East and the GCC are very unique, and I think global startups need to therefore pick up the opportunities and the uniqueness of the GCC while cooperating or working alongside the local MENA GCC startups or the Bahraini startups. And we have a few unique startups as well. We've got somebody who's doing a startup which looks at the fisheries sector, because fishing in Bahrain is a very big activity. skip line, somebody, a local Bahraini startup is looking at a Q concept and a Q app. So I think problems that are unique to the GCC will remain unique. What remains unique to India remains unique to India, the logistics, etc. So I think there's a lot of cross-breeding that can happen between the GCC startups and the global startups. Arabic, of course, is a language that, is again very unique to the region, and Bahrain offers that excellent platform for companies to Arabize their products. And that's where I think the uniqueness of Bahrain comes back, the talent comes back. So Bahrain, from the traditional oil and gas sectors, we have diversified our economy starting in the 70s. And I think with the focus that EDB has on attracting foreign investment, we are looking at 3 or 4 key sectors for overseas investment into Bahrain. Manufacturing from India, therefore India becomes a very important market for us. We are also looking at tech and ICT, and with the amount of reform that EDB along with the other ministries and stakeholders is doing, we've recently had, about 9 months, 10 months ago, we had a regulatory sandbox in place. We've also looked at the crowdfunding reform, we've looked at logistics reform. So a number of reforms that we are sort of trying to make with the other ministries or work around with the other ministries will help the emerging of the new economy sector, especially in the technology sector. And those traditionally will help the manufacturing and the tourism economy to sort of grow and transform itself into the new era. So it's setting up process in Bahrain is fairly easy. I mean, once you've got your head around what you want to do, you've identified the activity, you've identified the kind of company that you want to set up. With the support of EDB, we help you understand what company can you set up, what is the paperwork that's required. So I would say typically through our hand-holding, a company can be fully up and running between 4 to 6 weeks. Now this includes obviously the time, the company shows its readiness, completes its paperwork, attestation happens to us, and back in Bahrain we have a very strong and robust company secretary team, which is called as a government relations team, who does this process seamlessly. So I'd say, if you have made up your mind, about 4 to 6 weeks you can get up and running in Bahrain. Well, to start with, there is no tax in Bahrain. So, startups find it very there's funding from all over, the VCs, the PEs, they're pushing you to do more and more, less cash burn. As a startup, you are very conscious. Bahrain actually provides that great platform, because if you look at the GCC economy, Dubai, the largest market, we have Saudi as a larger market to address. We have a very unique position and strategic location, because to address the GCC from this market, it's very easy. Gulf fare connectivities to the GCC and the MENA are the highest. There is no tax, corporate income withholding, repatriation cap, nothing, absolutely nothing. Over and above that, what is also very unique to Bahrain is the grants that the Tamkeen, our sister organization, offers. I think all in all, a startup can very easily save on a 30% to 40% cost vis-a-vis some of our neighbors.